morning, everybody. It's Coach Tam, Chief Visionary Officer of 265 Point Total Fitness. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday and Getting Unstuck Part 2. I want to recap real quick what this series is about for those of you that were not able to join us on yesterday and did not catch the replay. But if you can, I definitely want you to check it out. All right. So in Getting Unstuck Part 1, I talked about the fact that everyone, including myself, will find themselves, will find themselves in a place at some point on the journey to transformation where they are feeling stuck. So it's not a matter of if this will happen. It's simply a matter of when it will happen and what we are going to do about it, right? So I talked about a client that I am working with who, after a great start, really started struggling. She hit a rough patch and she was having a hard time moving forward. So I wanted to create this series to help her, but also to help you get on with your best life. And yesterday, I talked about the first step to doing this. The first step to doing this is to move beyond thinking about making a change, talking about making a change, and saying what needs to change, to actually getting to a place where you make a different decision. Right? So it's not just, I don't like where I am, and talking about that, because we can give a lot of life to that, but that doesn't change anything. It's not just saying I don't like where I am, but it's that bridge. It's that and that says, and good morning, I am going to do something about it. So yesterday, your homework assignment, and I hope you did your homework assignment because it's just as important as listening to the sound of my voice, is actually taking that step to do the homework. So the homework was, for those of you that were here, the homework was for you to spend some time thinking. This time I do want you to think, because it is important to actually project yourself, not just from what you're dealing with right now, but to the future. I find it to be really, really effective. So if you don't change, what happens 6 months from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, when you're sitting in your rocking chair? What is life going to be like if you don't make a different decision now? That was what I wanted you to think about yesterday, and spend some time in your journal just jotting your thoughts down, because then you can refer back to that as you continue on with your journey, and it can keep you motivated and inspired to finish what you started. All right. So today I want to dig into part 2. And we're going to be doing about 5 of these. There's going to be 5 steps here. So this is step number 2. So after you've made a different decision, you've made a decision that you're not going to stay where you are, the next step in the process, family, is I need you to commit to a plan. All right. So I want to do 2 things in this quick coaching session this morning. I want to talk about what a plan looks like, number 1. And then secondly, I want to talk about what I mean by commitment. Right? Because we live in a day and age where I don't think we really value the word commitment, nor really truly understand what that means. All right. So I want to talk about, when I say commit to a plan, what do I truly mean by that? All right. So first of all, let me talk about what the plan looks like. All right. So when you're working with me, whether we're talking about weight loss, wellness, or we're talking about transforming your life, getting a different career, writing the book, starting the business, regardless of what it is, in my view, the plan always consists of 3 things. All right. 3 things that I think are really important to every plan. All right. The first one is to feed your spirit. Now, you may be surprised by that one, because a lot of times when we want to change, we try to do it on our own. Say, this is what I need to do, and this is what I'm going to do. But one of the things that I have had to accept, I challenge my clients to accept, and I challenge you to accept in this moment, is we cannot do things on our own. Right? And when we try to do them on our own without inviting God into the process and asking him to help us and strengthen us, I don't know about you, but I fall flat on my face. So I've come to a place in my life where I've begun to accept that even the things that I think I can do on my own, I really can't do. Right? So I need to feed my spirit. I need to invite him into my journey. But then it's not just important to feed your spirit from the standpoint of getting started and keeping going. But here, don't miss this. This is so, so important. Try to teach this to my clients. Listen, when you fall, Because I talked about yesterday, you're going to get stuck at some point in the process. You are going to get off of your eating plan. You're going to miss a workout. You're going to miss a day writing if you're writing a book. You're going to have a week where you don't feel like working on your business plan. The important part about feeding your spirit is when you really have that spiritual connection and you can sense God's presence in your life, you remember something that is very important, and that is you are forgiven, right? So nothing is final. Nothing is final, even though it seems final, even though it seems like you can't move forward. When you really have that spiritual connection, you realize, hey, listen, he has forgiven me and he has forgiven this moment, so I can move past this. So one of the affirmations that I challenge you to hang on to is I can overcome my mistakes. No matter what I am dealing with right now, I can overcome it with his help because he has overcome the world. So that's step number one. On a daily basis, I want you to feed your spirit. Number two, transform your mind. There was a quote that I read once, and it talked about, in essence, how, listen, you can't get different results with the thinking that created your current situation. I want you to process that. You can't get different results using the same thinking that got you here. So that means something has to change in your thought process, right? So we got to change the way we think about the foods that we eat and how we label foods, good foods and bad foods, right? And it's interesting, right? I even have to battle this, right? The good foods are the ones that aren't as good for us, right? But if we really believe that those are the good foods, I want something good to eat, think about what that does to your mind, right? So we have to change the way we think about the things that are keeping us stuck. Another thought process that I want to challenge that needs to be changed is that motivation is something that I feel or don't feel. This is a really, really important one, right? It's motivation is not just a feeling. Motivation is something you can create, right? I want you to take that away from this coaching session this morning. Motivation is something you can create. How do I know? Because every day we get up and do the things that we don't want to do simply because we value what's on the other side of it, right? Even for that job that we don't love, we will get up and go because we value the paycheck that's on the other side, right? And it's not just the paycheck itself, it's what the paycheck does for us. It allows us to maintain a certain standard of living. We don't have to feel like going to work. We go to work because we value what's on the other side of it, right? So I need you to shift from motivation just being some touchy-feely feeling thing and realize that it's something that you can create. And one of the first steps to doing that was what we talked about yesterday, connecting with your vision for the future. But you've got to, on a daily basis, transform the way you think. Challenge the thoughts that come against the goal that you have set. And one of the great ways to do that is with affirmations. So I challenge you to find some affirmations that support the goal that you're trying to reach. All right. The last piece is to train to win. So for this, I want to use a wellness example, right? You can have the vision. You can be feeding your spirit. You can be working on your affirmations. You can be transforming your mindset. But if you don't take action, if you don't get into the gym, if you don't do the workout, if you don't follow your meal plan, nothing happens. So you also have to train yourself to follow through, not just to start, but to follow through on what you said you're going to do. All right. So now that leads me to the commitment piece of it, because this is really, really important. I talked about yesterday. It's so easy to talk about what needs to change, to think about what needs to change, and to say things that need to change, but you've got to make a commitment, right? And the commitment is not trying to do something, right? Because you are with God's help, you are able to do this, right? You can work on transforming your mind. You can come up with a plan and you can do this. So this is not a try thing. This is making a commitment. It is digging your heels in the ground and saying, I am going to start this journey and I am going to keep going. Now, if you have a journey, let's take weight loss, for example. Maybe you need to lose 30, 50, 100 pounds, right? It can get overwhelming to think about how far you have to go. So I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to think about the entire goal. What I want you to focus on commitment-wise is the next 30 days. Just the next 30 days, right? All I need you to say is, listen, here are the things that I am going to do for the next 30 days to position myself for my vision for the future, right? So here's what this looks like. This is your homework assignment. I want you to do two things. Number one, I want you to think about what are 3 things that are standing in the way of what you want. 3 things that are standing in the way of what you want. It could be that late night snack that calls you from the kitchen. It could be that bowl of ice cream, right? It could be watching TV instead of getting your workout in, or it could be spending money that isn't in the budget, right? Whatever it is, what are 3 things that are stopping you from getting you where you want? I want you to identify those 3 things, and then I want you to make a commitment for the next 30 days to not do those things. Not for life. I just want you to focus on the next 30 days because we don't want to overwhelm ourselves, but we do want to make a commitment to do something different. And these don't have to be huge things. They can be small things. And it's just important that you make a decision, make a commitment to a plan of action to say, this is what I'm going to do. These are the 3 things that I am going to focus on. Right? Come hell or high water, no matter what happens, these are the things that I'm going to do. And when you make that decision within yourself, that really firm, that resolve, then failure is not an option, right? So instead of looking for ways out of what you said you're going to do, when something happens, you look for ways to do it. So one of the things I want you to remember is don't focus on what you can't do, focus on what you can do. Find a way to honor the commitment that you've made to yourself, all right? So I'm going to get ready to wrap up, but one more thing I want you to remember. Here's why it's so important that you have that true resolve, that true commitment, and not just say you're going to try to do something, right? Because try is kind of a weak, it's tentative. You're not really committed. You've given yourself an out, but your brain still hears the fact that you said you're going to try to do something. Right? And then when you don't follow through on what you said you were going to try to do, it damages us mentally and emotionally. Because what starts to happen, family, is we no longer believe that we can do the things that we say we're going to do. So what I need you to remember is every time you say you're going to try something or you make a promise to yourself and you don't follow through on it, you erode your self-confidence. It damages your view of your ability to make a change. And it's not that you can't do it. You can do it, but you haven't fully committed. You haven't said, I'm going to give this my everything. I'm going to go all out no matter what happens. I'm going to stick to this. And that's what I need you to do. Step number 2 is to commit to a plan. So your homework assignment today is to identify 3 things that you know are standing in the way of creating the body and the life that you want. And I want you to commit for the next 30 days, come hell or high water. I'm not doing these things, right? Or if it's better for you, what are 3 things that you are committing to do, right? 3 things. All I need you to do is identify 3. All right, if this has been helpful for you, give me a like, give me a share so that other people can benefit from this too. And tomorrow, we're still not done. I'm back with step number 3 to getting unstuck. I hope you have a great Wednesday, and I'll talk to you soon. God bless.